Bessa, Rapid Start AI, Entertainment Projects, Bessa Group, Anton Jewelry, Harley Flowers, Nessa and Sons, Sullivan Group, Exclusive Property Developers, Valencia, Royal Stacks, Malika Group, Elysium Real Estate, Barbecue Cane, Cameron Commercial Real Estate, The Manor on High, CNC Pro, Spectrum Real Estate. Dandenong Thunder would like to thank its following 2025 partners: Dandenong Pavilion, Zadig Shamus, Ultratune, Ozlock, Casey's Charcoal Chicken, Dandy Fresh, Jetbox, Ultimate Woodworks, Elbart Building, Harley Farm Fresh, Malika Flowers, APAC, Faster Plastics, Ferrari Holdings, Fresh Mixed Produce, Harley Flowers, Heidex Wheel and Solar, Miles Transport, Cassini Bros, Tacom Group, The Grand Cafe, AG Panels, Area Code, Azemi Bros, Dionsu, Lindsay Sellers, Natural Soil, Shanikas, Toured and Flowers, Emerald Hill Flowers, Acai Cafe, Acre Bulbs, Berwick Flowers, Blue in Melbourne, Ridge Road Flowers, E&E Muir and Sons, Marla Group, Meta Haulage, Pallets on the Run, Extra Foods, Danny's Flowers, Dicker Bodyworks, Ray White, Tronny Boys, Illyrian Ultrashine, Motorsport and NBSS Security. Bestway Butchers. Hello World Travel.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to George Andrews Reserve Round 23 action. Welcome to George Andrews Reserve. To the two team lineups. Melbourne Knights. Number 1, Gabriel Matti. Number 2, Ben Carrigan. Number 7, Adrian Valenti. Number 8, Stephen White. Number 9, Kieran Brownwell. Number 11, Fraser Dunlop. Number 14, Tommy Simi. Number 17, Arthur Uniar. Number 18, Jack Morton. Number 21, Tom Werndl. And number 22, Mateo Cuba.
Let's go!
Dandenong Thunder, number 1, Jamie Young. Number 3, Daniel Alessi. Number 5, Merci Mehmeti. Number 6, Aidan Edwards. Number 7, Yuki Yoshida. Number 8, Kyle Taylor. Number 9, Wade Decker. Number 10, Daniel Clark. Number 24, Ben Gibber. Number 14, Hassan Jolla. Number 5, Tas Van Morgan. Substitutes for the Dandenong Thunder. Number 17, Aguel Manuel. Number 32, Lachlan Yang. Number 13, Mohamed
Let's go. Let's go. Good evening, wherever you are watching in Victoria, across the nation, or indeed around the world. Welcome back to George Andrews Reserve on a dark and drizzly Saturday evening in Dandenong. Melbourne Knights venture to the southeast this evening, hovering perilously over the trapdoor. Their survival, their search for salvation sees its swan song rapidly approaching. Spared another 7 days by Avondale's win at Altona this afternoon, they have got to do what no other side has managed to do so far this season, and that is beat the Thunder on their own special patch. They have to find a way to protect over half a century of top flight football for a club which gave us Mark Viduka and has been an ever-present piece of the NPL puzzle. Time is running out, and if they are to find a way, if the Great Escape is to be on, it must commence right now. Dandenong Thunder, on the other hand, return home, having won at Port Melbourne last Friday night, and they will be even more eager to win after events last night on the other side of town. City's win over Oakley means that Thunder can tighten their grip on third and just about ensure a home final. They might have had an opportunity to push for a top 2 finish had Avondale lost at Altona today. However, that did not quite transpire. 3 points tonight, though, does mean that it would see them secure a spot in the top 3 for the first time since 2020, when that season was abandoned. To go back to when they had a top 3 finish over a full season, you have to return from when they won the lot in 2012. When these two met back in autumn, Thunder won 3-0 at Summer Street on a mild mid-April eve. That result was the second of a wretched run which sees Knight in the perilous predicaments which they currently are in. After a bright start to the season, 2 months without a win saw them plummet from mid-table comfort to relegation scrapping, and the pressure which only comes from trying to survive. That maybe, possibly, has an opportunity to change tonight here in the southeast. For the Thunder, the task at hand is simple. Get another 3 points on a patch which they love so much, and they will all be secured a top 3 finish, all but ensure themselves a place to play finals on what has been a season of progress, a season of pure excitement on the red and black half of Dandenong. Let's go to the teams, and for the hosts, Jamie Young starts in goal. Daniel Alessi continues his run in the side. Masim Mehmeti, who scored last Friday night at Port Melbourne, also starts. Aidan Edwards, Yuki Yoshida, Kyle Taylor, Wade Decker, Daniel Clark, Ben Jeeba, having returned to the squad from injury, makes his first start in a while. Hassan Jallo and Tace Van Amerongen. For Knights, Gabriel Matti is the goalkeeper tonight. Ben Carrigan, Adrian Valenti, who came over from Preston in the winter, Steve White, Kieran Bramwell, Fraser Dunlop, Tommy Semi, Atta Aina, Jack Morton, Tom Werndl, and Masatu Chiba on what is a massively, massively important night for them. They must win. It is as simple as that, because time is running out. Worth mentioning, only Heidelberg, Avondale and Oakley have more points at their own ground than Dandenong Thunder do this season. They've made a habit of hitting teams hard, and we'll be viewing this as a chance to almost sign off from home activity before the finals in perfect fashion. The penultimate one at George Andrews. They do play Victory here next Monday night. Early giveaway. Yoshida's challenge, firm but fair. Jeeba wanted to drive away. Jallo's got room down the right-hand side. Thunder looking to make early inroads. Hassan Jallo tried to tease it all the way wide for Decker. Hooked away. And Knight will be looking to weather a bit of an early onslaught. Thunder won't want to let up. Young. Van Amerongen. Masim Mehmeti. The other result today, of course, at the Olympic Village, Heidelberg, who were 1-0 down at half-time, came to earn a point against South Melbourne. Thunder might have looked at the 2 fixtures today as a chance to gain some ground on the top 2, but still, they must do tonight what needs to be done to strengthen that hold on third. Here's Ben Jeeba, trying to dart his way down the right-hand side. Semi stood him up and ensured that he could advance no further. Edwards, back for Jeeba. Alessi, quickly on for Van Amerongen. Knight sitting in. Mehmeti, clipped it into the channel for Jallo, who's got there. Clark's dropped off for him. Jallo finds him. Clark to stand one up to the back post. Jeeba couldn't quite get there to apply the touch. Semi has to smash it away. Anywhere will do for him and for Knights, who nearly found themselves a goal down inside 3 minutes. Clark. Mehmeti. Thunder looking to turn the screw. Clark, who's got room to roam on that left-hand side, fizzed one in towards Jallo. Ever important clearance. Taylor was the one who picked it up. Shuffled away from Morton. Mehmeti from Decker. Fizzed it in again. And once again, Knights find a way to clear their lines. Alessi the first one onto it. Taylor tried to turn it for Yoshida. Thunder applying the early pressure. Edwards, Van Amerongen, call as you like, on for Alessi. And it might be another red and black wave coming. Van Amerongen speared it on for Decker. Mehmeti's on the march on the overlap. Decker invites him to join him. Mehmeti stunned for the back post. Jiba got a touch. Decker on the rebound, blocked off the line. Decker tried to follow it in. That's a brilliant block. To spare Knights blushes. Terrific work from Decker, who waited that overlapping run from Mehmeti wonderfully. Stood it up for Jiba. A tidy touch. I think he wanted Jallo to come onto it. With it being a fraction behind him, Decker again got the opportunity to drive one. And Thunder, as they did last time here against Oakley, are looking for a quick start. Of course, they will be hoping that game doesn't transpire in the same manner as that one did. The Cannons came back from 3 down to draw 3-all 3 to frustrate the hosts. Dunlop. Back for Carrigan. Now Matty, who took a loose touch. That's a tidy clearance to make up from it. Dunlop, pressed by Decker. Quickly down the line for Sheba. Knights trying to find a way beyond the press, given away to Taylor. Decker on for Edwards. Jeba's making up some ground. Yoshida just dropped in momentarily. Very tidily read by Morton. Alessi worked it on. Jeba, that's a lovely bit of skill to get around Semi. Tried to poke it into a dangerous area. Werndl happy to hook it away. Mehmeti. Edwards. Decker. Thunder looking to get this game off to a rapid start and really set the tempo for now. Knights holding solid. As Thunder try to shift them around. Taylor, who's dropped in. Carl Taylor on the march. Clark wanted it in the channel. Lovely 1-2 with Decker. Taylor was looking to drive forward, but was bundled out by the turquoise block. Edwards. Van Amerongen. Alessi. Just as they tried to go up the gears, Van Amerongen has speared it for Decker. Teased it into the channel wonderfully. Clark's touch a fraction heavy, but he's made up for it. Daniel Clark just about kept it in. Wanted support. Taylor and Mehmeti trying to work it out in ahead of Bramwell, who doesn't half mind this fixture. When these two met at George Andrews last season, it was his brace that helped Knights on their way to an all-important 3 points. He was their top scorer last season. Those two adding to that, and he is as well this season. He's found 9 in 22. And how they will need him to find double digits tonight. That's a brilliant ball from Mehmeti. Jallo has timed it well, as was the tracking by Werndl, who just didn't let him wriggle around. Matty commanding, and is there to mop it up. That's a super ball as well to find an ear. Strong challenge. Semi trying to get away from Jiba. Again searching down the line, but Alessi steps in to make the challenge. Semi. Werndl. Knights just wanting to ride out the early wave, but Thunder are not letting them do so easily. Mehmeti. Van Amerongen. Now Alessi. It's waiting on a bit more movement. Massim Mehmeti. Down the line for Decker, who's got a yard. But again, just as that space opens up, there is always someone in turquoise to get across. Chiba doing the defensive duty that time round. Van Amerongen wanted to switch it, instead rolled it for Taylor, who took it on the turn. Now it does find its way to Decker. Teasing, early ball, Yoshida got up, and that is the Thunder's opening goal. Yuki Yoshida with a lovely leap. Matty got a paw, but he could only watch it find the bottom corner. And Thunder, who have been knocking on the door for 8 minutes, have their opening goal. Yuki Yoshida's 10th of the campaign. Gets the Thunder off to the fastest start that they desired. And Knights, who made their journey down the M3, have it all to do. Brilliant ball from Decker to find him. Delicious late whip. Just invited Yoshida to nod it into the net. And Decker, who had an opportunity in the early minutes, turns provider to Yoshida. Thunder have their opening goal. And Melbourne Knights in need of a quick response. Bramwell, Van Amerongen in with a dive. And in for that late lunge, he will find himself in the book inside the first 10 minutes. The Dutchman will now have to walk a tightrope. 80 plus stoppage time on a booking at the heart of that Thunder defence. And it might give Knights an opportunity to land the leveller in quick response. Free kick with loft. Bramwell wanted to go around the back. Mehmeti wanted up. Cleared further and then on once more by Yoshida, who was happy to hook it away. Valenti. Back over the top for Morton, who couldn't touch it on for Semi. Yoshida one in. Taylor. Recycled it to Jiba, but Thunder will take the free kick. Edwards on quickly. Mehmeti, who's got Clark and Decker. Clark. Hustled by Chiba, went back to Mehmeti. Van Amerongen, Edwards, Bramwell on the press. Thunder happy to evade him. Mehmeti wanted to spear one for Jallo. Decker the beneficiary from Carrigan's touch. Clark is now charging forward. He wanted Jallo at the near post, but Werndl with an all-important touch concedes a corner. And that is how quickly Thunder have looked to hit on the break. The second the width opens up, the second the channel just becomes available. Mehmeti shifts the ball into it to a runner. Result is a corner. Taylor. Short for Clark. Quick 1-2. Taylor goes back for Clark. That one rather fizzled out in the end for Thunder. Taylor forced all the way home. Edwards. Decker, who's dropped deep. Happy to find his keeper. This is a real test for Knights from here. They've only picked up 4 points on the road this season. The fewest of any side in the top flight. They will need to find some serious resolve if they are to work themselves back into this game. Van Amerongen, whose first Dandenong Thunder goal came at Summer Street in the reverse fixture, was part of that emphatic night which really started the rot, one which Melbourne Knights haven't quite stopped. Clark. Mehmeti on for Taylor, who's taken up charge on the left-hand side, but had just drifted offside while doing so. And that early goal, also a sign of Knights' leaky defence on their travels. Only Port Melbourne's 36 is a bleaker away record than Knights' 32 conceded on the road. And on 7 occasions, they conceded 3 or more. Some unpromising omens, ones which they will want to turn around. But Yoshida is looking to continue on the status quo. And in fact, where Piddick wanted a foul, Knights will get a free kick for handball. Carrigan. Into the feet of Bramwell. Wide for Dunlop, who's hustled by Decker. Carrigan, all the way back to Matty. Players dropping in. White was one of them, fizzed it to Semi. That's a tidy touch. It's speared wide for Chiba, who was entangled with Mehmeti. Knight's appeals fall on deaf ears. Edwards. Mehmeti. Speared it for Jallow, tried to split the defence, but Matty read it all the way into his palms. Carrigan. Nearly a quarter of an hour gone at George Andrews. Thunder with the early goal. Knights trying to find their way back into it. Semi. Wanted the run of Inia. Alessi always in the best place to read it. Went back for Young, who's pressed by Bramwell, and Young's given it away. Semi, the recipient, wanted to go from range, but Jamie Young reset himself and made up for his minor error. Semi trying a sighter, and why not? Would have been the spectacular to get back into it. Decker tried to fire it into Jallow, who also tried to win in ahead of Carrigan, but Knights will keep it. Wendell did well just to hustle Jallow off it. Centrepiece of the Melbourne Knights defence is got the task of marking Thunder's top scorer. Jallow, the only Thunder player before kick-off in double digits with 11. He's now been joined by Yoshida. But here's Semi. Tried to get one on the overlap. Ben Jeeber's recovery. A good one, but Semi will watch it trickle out. Valenti wanted it short. Instead, he went for White. And here is Valenti. Knights wanting to cause a problem. Werndl, step beyond Jallow. Into the feet of Semi. White, that's a lovely ball. Inviting Valenti to fizz one across. Chiba couldn't quite get a touch on it. Knights keeping it moving. White. Just working it around. Morton with a quick 1-2. White on the switch for Werndl. Semi. Lovely ball for Valenti, who touched in ahead of Taylor and then turned it round the corner. Ball stood up to the back post, but nobody had obliged with a run. However, that is the kind of creativity they will need to showcase if they are to get themselves back into this game. Knight's solitary away win this season came in dramatic circumstances at Melbourne Victory at the home of the Matildas. It looked to kickstart a survival bid in which they've only since added one more point and are well and truly pressed against the wall. Valenti tried a tidy ball. Alessi won in. Edwards helped it over. Jallow wanted one more for Decker. Decker wanted to apply the press. Thumping clearance, took a touch off Thunder's number 9. Dunlop had dropped in just to provide some aid. Knights throw deep in Thunder territory. Wanted Bramwell. Mehmeti. Tried to touch it for Taylor. Yoshida. Taylor. Alessi. Morton just left one on Yoshida there. Back with Kyle Taylor. Edwards. Dandenong Thunder exercising patience in trying to break down the Knights' shield wall. That's a lovely touch from Mehmeti on for Decker, who's just about done enough to keep it in. tried to stab it towards Clark, who gets it fortuitously. Clark shifting back on his left, and Werndl across to make the challenge. Decker picks it up. Yoshida out of his feet, twisting, turning, taking a stumble as well, letting it back for Mehmeti, whose shot was turned well wide. Mehmeti wanting a second in as many weeks. That one more of a sighter than spectacular. Knights once again unable to clear their lines and inviting pressure. Werndl again looked to lump it long. Alessi always best placed, touched it back for Van Amerongen. Mehmeti, Taylor, wonderfully worked out of the press. Morton was the one who was chasing. Chibber wanted to go with Taylor, Edwards, Mehmeti. Out the other side from Van Amerongen, on for Alessi, who saw Taylor's run. Tried to turn it over the top. It might break for Semi, but Alessi tracked it all the way, recycled it back to his keeper. Mehmeti. Quickly wide for Decker, who's got room to drive into, and Clark on the overlap. He's got round the outside of Dunlop. Clark back for Edwards. Beautiful ball for Yoshida, who thought about trying to stab it, then did well to keep it in. Very tidy touch from Chiba, and then given away. Edwards, Clark, Yoshida, who just about got back on side. Mehmeti, fizzing ball. Jallow couldn't get the touch. Cleared only as far as Edwards. Taylor, round the other side for Chiba. Face to face with Semi. Back for Alessi. Edwards. Van Amerongen. Alessi. Waiting on a bit more movement. Morton again on the press. Mehmeti. Tidy down the line. Yoshida's got a yard. One-on-one with Chiba. Yoshida down the line. Steering an early one, shouts for handball. Decker tried to turn it back towards Jallow and Taylor, who were waiting. Cleared away once more by Werndl. Deep thunder throw. Decker turned it back from Mehmeti. Another brilliant ball towards Yoshida, who's looking to add another header. Took an important Knights touch because he was lurking. Chiba's throw. Quickly on for Alessi. Taylor. Wanting to work away around White. Chiba took over. Alessi. Van Amerongen. Young, who's a long way from home, and nearly, ever so nearly, gave an ear an opening. Mehmeti, back for Van Amerongen. Now Young, tidy for Edwards, who can turn. Worked it on for Yoshida, and all of a sudden, Thunder have some space. Chiba is down the line. Chiba's ball, too heavy for anyone to get a meaningful touch. Much to Piddock's frustration down on the touchline as they work their way through the Melbourne Knights press. And we're just about to have an opening. But Chiba's ball, with too much depth and too much weight for anyone to make an impact. Wonderful run. Moved on to Bramwell. Knights have just about evaded it. Bramwell in the channel for Chiba, who's timed his run perfectly. Chiba with a yard. Tried to stand it up, but Young always had his near post covered and did not concede a corner. Terrific run from Werndl to just give Knights a moment to get out. Drew the Thunder press. Slid it through the legs of Carl Taylor. But it didn't come to any avail. Mehmeti. Decker, who once again has got a lot of freedom down the left-hand side, and he's got Jallo, who is galloping. Jallo with 2 for company. Hustled over firmly but fairly. Taylor sliding. Sees it into touch. This game has just fallen a little bit scrappy in the last few minutes. Knights have certainly solidified and are starting to get some joy. Chiba has looked likely. This time Edwards stops his advance. Inia's throw. White. Back for Carrigan. Werndl. White. Can Thunder go high on the press? Carrigan. Waited on Chiba to drop in. Decided to go over the top. Van Amerongen's header breaks fortuitously for Chiba, who's got room to drive into, has options with him. Dunlop. Waited on Chiba's overlap. And then couldn't find Morton. Clark in to win it back. Taylor. Van Amerongen. Thunder keeping it calm. Finding Alessi. Back for Young. Van Amerongen. On for Mehmeti, who again is hooking into the channel for Jallo to chase. Yoshida was again the one arriving. Decker just dabbed it on for Jallo. Yoshida's now got room. Clark has peeled away. Check back onto his left, trying to work a yard. Clark dragged it wide. Took an important touch and Thunder will have a corner. But it opened up so invitingly for Clark to pull the trigger. But in checking back onto his left, he did so a fraction early, and it invited the Knights' defence to reset and invited the block. Another Thunder corner. Both goals away at Port Melbourne on Friday last week came from set pieces. Mehmeti's take. Matty's punch. Cleared further away by Dunlop, only as far as Edwards, who's taken a loose touch. Chiba. Edwards. Yoshida, who's the deepest lying, retreats to his keeper. Yoshida, tidy touch around the corner. Mehmeti hooking it on for Jallo, who's got his way around. But Matty, always best place to claim it. Got a good punch on that, so we've already seen one goal directly from a corner this week. Tavir's effort at Paisley Park, beating everybody. Clark, Taylor, 2-0 Thunder. Beautifully worked and tidily finished by Taylor on the late run. Clark's cut back, crisp and inviting. Taylor's finish as tidy as it comes, and Thunder have doubled their lead before half an hour. Knights carved apart. And while possibly waiting for the defensive cavalry to arrive, Dandenong Thunder's inroads were to perfect effect. And now their woes double. Thunder well on the way to establishing a 5-point gap between themselves and Oakley. That was a terrific Thunder move. Finished off in equally wonderful fashion by Kyle Taylor. Melbourne Knights are on the brink of implosion in the southeast. Edwards. Chiba. Not away from Semi. That defence perhaps depleted as well tonight. No Nathan Hancock, who was sent off at Preston last Saturday. Just a matter of minutes from time as well, how they are missing him. Familiar with this city, of course, but on the other side of it, former Dandy City man, Decker. Van Amerongen. Tidy shift beyond Bramwell. Edwards. Into the feet of Decker, who tries one down the line. Clark giving chase, but Matty made his move early and was able to see it into touch for a goal kick. Knights will need to find at least two. For a side who have the league's third least potent attack. Only Altona and Port Melbourne have scored fewer than their 25. They will need to score thrice if they are to turn this game on its head. Alessi tried to find Yoshida. White read it best. Valenti, Semi. Away from Decker. White. Wendell. On for Carrigan. Now White once again. Clark the one urged to press. Carrigan stepped beyond. Speared it out for Valenti. White's touch, Taylor on the press. Retreating all the way to Matty. That's a lovely ball to just break the lines and find Morton, who's moved it on for Dunlop. Melbourne Knights just enjoying some possession. Happy to be patient and play it around, maybe to just find some rhythm in this game. They haven't really been afforded it so far. This much time and this much space to just be able to play around. Bramwell. Semi. Tried to touch it on for Valenti. Yoshida slid in. But wasn't able to work it down the line to keep it for Thunder. Carrigan. Wendell. Can they just find a way to halve the deficit before half time? Just to go into the dressing room a bit more buoyant and with a real belief, understanding that Thunder are prone to conceding late on this ground. Happened against St Albans, happened against Stokely. It's about finding a way to stay in the game right now for Knights. And most importantly, do not find yourself 3 down before the break. Van Amerongen. On for Alessi. Thunder taking their time, just wanting to shift Melbourne Knights shape around. Try and find another opening. Alessi, Yoshida's found a pocket. He's got Clark with him. Round the corner for Jiba instead, who had Jallo arriving. Decker at the back post. Jiba up against Valenti. Shifted inside, Semi with an all-important stab. Just to take it away as he was about to pull the trigger. And here's loose touch picked up on by Edwards. Taylor. Alessi. Back for Van Amerongen. Loose touch just allows Jamie Young to be the one to recover it. Mehmeti. Alessi with a teasing ball. Yoshida has timed it, taken it down deftly, and Jallow couldn't turn it in. Decker is still keeping it alive. Round the corner for Clark. Fizz back across. Taken a touch and in. Sometimes when it doesn't go your way, it does not go your way. The grass does not seem greener. Jallow may claim it. Knights turn into their own nets. And Thunder find their third. Terrific touch from Yoshida to take it down. The ball across, just a fraction behind Jallow. Decker, the late arrival, kept it alive. Rolled it on for Clark, who did the right thing, hit it across the face with Fizz. And it took an unfortunate touch for Knights and turned into their own net. Thunder have 3. And on a night where they needed to find a way to salvage something, Knights right now are being picked apart. White, sat Clark down, tried to lift it over the top for Semi. "62 years. The last time that Melbourne Knights were outside the top flight. It's an extraordinary record. And it is at real risk of running out. And at the moment, they find themselves in a really, really dangerous position. Against a Thunder side who like to hit hard at home, and they have done just that once again. Mehmeti. Van Amarongan. Around the other side for Alessi. Chiba. Yoshida. 1-2 inviting Valenti. Tidy touch. On for Morton. Semi. White. Worked themselves out of a little bit of a red and black cul-de-sac. And then Edwards won it back. Couldn't find a way out of that. Morton with a slide, kept it moving forward, but there was no one there to keep the move running. Young. Brilliant ball to find Edwards. Taylor has seen Chiba's run and has obliged him with a spearing switch. Chiba has got away from Valenti. Jallow's arriving. Chiba goes alone. That's a brilliant, brilliant save from Matty. Chiba kept it alive, but not without fouling Valenti. He had Hassan Jallow arriving. He was screaming towards what would have been an open net, and he just rolled it to him. Matty called his bluff and got his angles right. And Valenti with valour won a free kick. The Knights bench weren't particularly happy about that lunge. Some appeals for a card to be brandished, but they were quickly waved away by the fourth official. Alessi won it up against 2. Yoshida tried to chest it down for Edwards. Brilliantly well on. Dunlop nearly had a moment where he thought he could get around, but Alessi in retreat won it. Then gave Chiba 1 with 2 for company. Semi won it back. Bramwell's broken away. Taylor, the first one to read the cutback. He was in the right position. Tidy to find Alessi. Clipped into Clark. Taylor touched it on for Edwards. Nearly was heavy. It's been just a fraction wet in the southeast tonight, and Decker has been bundled over. By Chiba. And Thunder will have a free kick. But they just worked their way out of the press ever so tidily. And Chiba, in just trying to slow Decker up, dragged him to the ground. Van Amerongen. Taylor. Returns it to the big Dutch centre-half, who is captaining the Thunder tonight. Edwards. Taylor. Thunder again trying to draw the press and play their way through. Alessi. All the way home to Young. Worked it round the corner for Edwards. Van Amerongen. Mehmeti. Wanted Decker down the line to spin and go. Decker wanted to come to feet, and it'll just trickle out of play. Just over 5 minutes plus stoppage time before the end of the first half. One in which Dandenong Thunder have continued their dominant form on this patch. Chiba tussling with Van Amerongen. Tugged back by the Dutchman. Bramwell taken quickly, switched it for Semi, who took it down tidily. Face to face with Chiba. Yoshida came across to try and cut the inside out. Semi happy to retreat. White. Werndl. Valenti. Couldn't lift it over the top of Chiba. White kept it moving. Chiba. Carrigan. Werndl. Into White, who's dropped in. Waited on his runners. Looked to drive it towards Dunlop. Mehmeti. Timed the leap, and Dunlop, unfortunately with his momentum, could only go into the back of him. Young. Again, just waiting to draw the press. Clark just about got enough of a touch on it. Young sold him a hot one. Carrigan. White. Now Chiba. Down the line for Dunlop. That's a tidy return. Him and Chiba work them out of a situation well. Teasing ball. And Alessi there to nod it. Mehmeti will prevent a corner and mop it up. Looks to lift it towards Jallow, who wanted to spin. Carrigan covered that. White worked it on for Valenti. With a cheeky clip, found Carrigan. Bramwell, loose touch. Edwards in on it. Yoshida wanted to turn and move. Bramwell holding him up. Edwards quickly to take the free kick. On for Taylor. Thought about obliging Decker's run with a drive. Instead went to Alessi. Van Amerongen. Taylor. Mehmeti. Dunlop on the press, and Mehmeti's given it away. Morton might be able to move forward. Switched it for Bramwell with height. Semi was short for him. Away from Yoshida. And then Edwards. White worked it on for Valenti. And again, just when Knights have an opening, they just can't quite capitalise on it. And it allows Thunder to shut the door. Chiba. Dunlop. Morton with a loose touch. Taylor with a tidy challenge. Mehmeti on for Jallow. Edwards. Switched it well for Alessi. Down the line for Chiba. Yoshida is moving into space. Chiba obliges him with the ball. Yoshida has to give chase and has just about kept it in. Jallow with a brilliant touch. Crashes it against the post. Knights breathe a sigh of relief, but Hassan Jallow was nearly jubilant. That was a wonderful takedown. And nearly turned it into the top corner. White speared it on for Chiba. Wanted a run into the box. Still waiting on his options. Carrigan. White. That's just trying to move it around. Morton. Chiba. White, who's got room to turn. That's a great ball over the top. Valenti's timed his run perfectly. But in whipping it back, didn't quite keep it in. White with invention, but too much weight. However, the calls from the Knights bench is that is the right idea. So just try and work it to one side and then whip it on the switch. In the end, although that one skidded out of play, Knights will look at that as somewhere they can gain some success. Jallo with a lovely takedown and was wrestled down by Werndl. Yoshida was in a hurry. Too much of a hurry for the referee, who in fact has stopped play to put Werndl in the book. We're approaching stoppage time at the end of the first half at George Andrews, where so far the Thunder have been terrific. Saturday night under the lights, and they have shone on a very wintry weekend eve. Young had a slip while trying to find Chiba. Valenti won it up. White nodded it on for Semi. Shifted it around Chiba, who was trying to retreat. White, Valenti. Tidy ball as we head into 2 minutes of stoppage time. At the end of the first half, Bramwell battling with Van Amerongen and has spun his way around him. Decker in support. Ricochets out to Semi. Valenti. Morton's touch. Semi, that's a super ball. Chiba. Down the line for Dunlop. Moved inside of Mehmeti. Dunlop from range. Didn't get any whip on it. Drove it far too wide to worry Jamie Young. But again, Melbourne Knights just having a good spell, where they were able to shift it side to side and get some joy. Young with a tidy ball. Ishida's heavy touch. Invited Morton to go and win it. Carrigan. Chiba. If Knights are to launch away to get back into this game before half-time, it has to be now. Dunlop. Momentarily through the legs of Decker, who did well to win it back and has dribbled himself into danger. Chiba with the first challenge. Ania with the second. Gave it away. Taylor, Clark, couldn't turn the corner. Chiba on return, won it back. Tried to fizz it into the feet of Ania. Edwards, Decker, Mehmeti, all the way back for Young. Bramwell on the press and then took a slip. Van Amerongen. Taylor. Young and Thunder just worked themselves out of a perilous position when Knights were trying to press and kept possession until the end of the first half. One in which they were in terrific touch. Scoring at regular intervals. Yoshida kick-started it all with a tidy header. Knights turned a third into their own net. Thunder added a second before then. But half-time at George Andrews. Knights have some work to do if they are to work a way back into this game. Dandenong Thunder, on the other hand, might want to think about more of the same. At half-time, let's go!
Element Group, Exclusive Property Developers, Valencia, Royal Snacks, Malika Group, Delicia Real Estate, Barbecue Cane, Cameron Commercial Real Estate, The Manor on High, CNC Drones, Spectral Real Estate. Dandenong would like to thank its following 2025 partners: Dandenong Pavilion, Zadig Shamus, Ultratune, Ozlock, Casey Charcoal Chicken, Dandy Fresh, Jetbox, Ultimate Woodworks, Elba Building, Arley Farm Fresh, Malika Flowers, APAC, Faster Plastics, Variety Holdings, Fresh Mixed Produce, Harley Flowers, IH Will Solar, Miles Transport, Cassini Bros, Tacon Group, The Grand Cafe, AG Panels, Area Code, The Zemi Bros, Dionsu, Menzies Cellars, Natural Soil, Shanikas, Jordan Flowers, Emerald Hill Flowers, The Zay Cafe, Acre Bowls, Berry Flowers, Bloom in Melbourne, Ridge Road Flowers, E&E Muir and Sons, Marla Group, Better Haulage, Pallets on the Run, Extra Foods, Danny's Flowers, Dicker Bodyworks, Ray White, Tronny Boys, Illyrian Ultrashine, Motorsport and NBSS Security. Bestway Butchers. Hello World Travel. Code of behaviour. It is important that all spectators at a Football Federation Victoria approved fixture are able to enjoy the match in a safe and comfortable environment. Accordingly, each person present at every fixture must A. Respect the decisions of the match officials. B. Respect the rights, dignity and worth of every person regardless of their race, colour, religion, language, politics, national or ethnic origin. C. Not engage in the use of violence in any form, whether it may be because other spectators, 10 officials, including coaches or players. D. Not engage in discrimination, harassment or abuse in any form, whether lawful or otherwise, including but not limited to the use of obscene or offensive language or gestures, the incitement of hatred or violence, or partake in the decent or racist chanting. E. Comply with FMV's conditions of entry at all venues and any ticket condition. F. Not carry light or throw flares or missiles, including on the field of play or at other spectators. G. Not enter the field of play that surrounds without lawful authority. And H. Conduct themselves in a manner that enhances rather than injures the reputation and goodwill of FFV, Football Federation Australia, FFA, and football generally. Any person who does not comply with this code or who is, in the opinion of the club and MV, causes attempts to cause or is reasonably likely to cause disruption may be evicted from the venue and banned from attending further matches held on behalf of FFV. Any offender who then breaches the ban or against them may be charged with trespass and subject to further penalties and sanctions, including the possibility of further legal action. Jewelry, Harley Flowers, Nasser and Sons, Sullivan Group, Exclusive Property Developers, Alicia, Royal Stacks, Malika Group, Delicia Real Estate, Barbecue Cave, Cameron Commercial Real Estate, The Manor on High, CNC Pro, Spectrum Real Estate.
Welcome back to George Andrews for the second half of a game in which so far the Dandenong Thunder have been in imperious form. Knights 3 down at the break and certainly searching for answers if they are to keep a late lunge at salvation and survival. Let's go! Of course, they won't be relegated if they lose tonight, but they would need to be near on perfect, and they would need the best part of every single result possible going their way. Stranger things have happened, but it is a long road back. Edwards switching it for Decker. Thunder looking to make a fast start to this second half. Taylor. Mehmeti. Into the feet of Clark, who was challenged well. White. Back for Matty, who's looked to launch it. Mehmeti one up. Van Amerongen being hustled by Bramwell. Young. Taylor. Turned it round the corner. Back for Van Amerongen. Clark. Mehmeti. Searching for Jallo. Wandel in the way. Edwards nipping at the heels. Decker diving in and wrestling in and giving away a free kick. Knights with an early chance. Maybe, just maybe, to unsettle a few nerves. White's take. With depth, Van Amerongen up. Mehmeti didn't hook it away the first time. Taylor at the second attempt. Anywhere would do for Thunder. It got incredibly scrambled in there. Required a thumping clearance. Chibba, who had a bright first half, showed too much of that to Clark. Allowed him to steal him. Tried to stab it down the line for Decker. Thunder happy to take the throw. Van Amerongen. Young. Alessi. In for Yoshida, who's twisting and turning beyond Valenti, who's pulled him back. Edwards thought about the quick free kick. Left it for Van Amerongen, who's driven that wide for Decker. Chiba with a good read. Decker collected him as well. And Chiba has stayed down. He's clutching his knee on the way down. Melbourne Knights bench most displeased with that challenge from Decker. Decker's also down, receiving treatment. Chiba, thankfully, is back on his feet. And he seems to be okay, which is the main thing. It doesn't look serious. Never a good sign when a player goes down clutching their knee. You always hope for the best. And thankfully, for Masatel Chiba, it doesn't look to be anything serious. Decker also back on his feet. Knights momentarily down to 10. Now reinstated to the full 11. Valenti. Wandel nearly showed Jallo an opening. Clearance cut out by Mehmeti, who took it down deftly, shifted it into Edwards, who was surrounded by turquoise. Mehmeti wanted to spear it for Yoshida. Jiba's on the march and has done well to keep that in. Yoshida with room to tease one for Taylor. Tidy header from Werndl at the expense of a corner. Kyle Taylor just darting across the front post. Trying to turn it goalwards with any kind of flick that he could. In the end, Werndl with a more meaningful touch. Mehmeti's take. With depth, looking for Alessi round the back. Nodded in, Werndl read it best. Decker tried to hook it, Taylor tried to keep it alive, but in fact he was offside. Knights recognised the deep ball. That Alessi back post header was how they scored one of their goals from a corner. That's Friday at Port Melbourne. Knights just getting the bodies in and around the drop zone to make sure. Semi wanted to go forward, but the flag was raised mid-run. Young. Van Amerongen. Mehmeti. Wanted to clip it for Jallo. Werndl read it best. Edwards mopped it up. Chiba in, and that might turn creatively, but Young was quickly off his line to stifle out Inia, who was looking to cause an issue. Thunder's number one, Drew Bramwell. Edwards. Alessi. Speared it towards Jallo, who's touched it down away from Werndl. Yoshida was round the corner. Jallo did try to find him, but couldn't quite sort his feet out to shift it well enough. Valenti, Semi, White. Wonderfully worked by Knights. Morton. Chiba held him up. White gave it back to Morton, who's now pressed by Edwards. Semi, White. Werndl. Carrigan. Morton this time losing out. Yoshida on the march, waiting on his options. Semi bundled into him. Firmly, but fairly enough to avoid giving away a free kick. Morton can now take it away. Wants to clip it over the top for Valenti, who had a lot of Chiba. Now Valenti's turn to hit the floor. Jamie Young, happy to restart it all. Van Amerongen. Edwards. Alessi. Round the corner for Mehmeti. Knights wanted the press, but Thunder just worked themselves out of it quickly enough before it could get set. That's a poor giveaway. Might open it up for Knights. Touch back from Dunlop. Semi. Morton tried to work it back. Semi with a heavy touch, and then while trying to work it down the line, has smashed it into touch. Chip it down the line. Jallo wanted a tidy chest. White won in well. Semi, Morton, beautiful touch from Bramwell. Enia's got room to roam. Has shifted away from Edwards. And Jamie Young's watched that all the way and made a rather tidy save. On a wet and wild night, where it's greasy, it can skid on and just make things a bit uncomfortable. Young stopped the bounce. Taylor fired it on for Chiba. Valenti had to slide in. Yoshida, away from Semi, away from Valenti, into Jallo. Just too heavy for Yoshida, who then slid in. Dunlop, White. Bramwell, the flag has stayed down. Young in pole position, and now the flag does come up. Taylor took it quickly. Edwards tried to drive it for Decker, instead only found Chiba. White. Valenti. Waited on his runners. Morton was one of them. Wendell. Away from Jallo. Down the line for Semi. Chiba at his back. Yoshida came across for support. Jallo now in. Trying to win the tussle. Valenti wanted ahead of all of them. Wanted to play it down the line for Bramwell to try and blaze away. Bramwell's pressure good enough for Alessi to concede possession. Semi. Gets it back from Wendell. Nearly sold Morton short. Edwards has hit the floor. Thunder appeals on deaf ears. Van Amerongen in. Yoshida. Recycled it ever so coolly. Out the other side for Mehmeti. Decker. Mehmeti. That's a glorious clip for Taylor. Took it down Tefley. Turned back tightly, and the Thunder are again just going to try and work their way through the press. Alessi. Van Amerongen. Young. And Taylor who dropped in. Mehmeti. Trying to get on the advance. Dropped it in for Clark, who just held the space. Yoshida was alongside with him. Recycled it back for Taylor. Edwards. Van Amerongen. Alessi. A tidy ball for Decker. Edwards. Tried to switch it for Yoshida. Ended up splitting him. Semi. Recovered it to Matty, who gave it back to him. Nearly sold Morton short. It'll skip up away from them both. Bramwell dropping in with a lovely ball round the corner. Inia is through. Van Amerongen at his back. Inia trying to twist and turn. But Ties Van Amerongen stood firm. Able to win it back with an all-important challenge. Gets it off Young. Taylor. Decker. Chiba clattered into him. And it will be a Thunder free kick. Approaching the hour mark at George Andrews Reserve. Neither side yet to land a second half blow. Taylor's on the march, however, and Chiba is all on his own. Chiba couldn't quite take it down. Clark come to provide support. Chiba stood it up. Yoshida again with a late run at his second of the night. Chiba with a delightful drive. Yoshida's run timed to perfection. And Thunder add their fourth in simply super fashion. Delicate from Ben Chiba. Yoshida, who's made a habit of those late runs in recent weeks, did it in the first half for the opener and was right on the scene to turn in his brace and the Thunder's fourth. They can see some breathing room at the top three. Certainly heading towards that kind of finish in a full season for the first time in just over a decade. Whereas Knights are seeing survival hopes slide away. And it might be about to get worse. Yoshida, who's now on a hat-trick for Taylor. Edwards. Jeeva's made the advance. Alessi into Clark, who was hustled off it by Valenti. Edwards won it back. Taylor dropped in, the Thunder prepping a triple change. Flag raised before that attack could take shape. Donfe, Manuel, and Romanovsky, the ones looking to make an impact. Decker's night is done, as is Ben Jeebers. Bang on the hour. First return, first start. Upon return from injury, there's been a good one. His final act to assist Yuki Yoshida's second, and Hassan Jallo's night also sees its conclusion. Two mid-season arrivals. And Romanovsky, who's tucked right in at right back. Matty. Again looking long. Mehmeti won it. Edwards turned it over the top for Taylor. White in retreat. Edwards and Taylor just playing it around. Kyle Taylor now fancies the drive. Has weighted that ball down the line for Manuel, who wanted to keep it in. Just a fraction too heavy. And he turned himself into the fence. Just to stop up some momentum. Valenti. That's an inviting ball down the line. Morton was the one to give chase. Young split them for Edwards. Van Amerongen. Lovely ball for Taylor, who's taken it on the turn and turned into three. Carrigan protesting he won the ball. Thunder will have a free kick. Clark. Manuel. Yoshida. Took a heavy touch. Turned it around for Manuel. Clark to drill one. Carrigan's touch, important. As Manuel was lurking, and Knights are going to make a couple changes of their own. Alex Hurd making his way on for Fraser Dunlop. And Filip Yevchevsky also to be introduced. Taylor. Edwards. Van Amerongen. Alessi. Jamie Young. Alessi, who might be on the march. Tried to tease one into the channel for Donfe. Valetti cut it out. Tried to switch it for Semi. Romanovsky read it best. Yoshida's now on the march and slipping while he was trying to do so. Tidy challenge from Yevchevsky. First involvement was to win it back, not once but twice. Carrigan. Chipper. Hurt. Gave it away to Taylor. Manuel. Mehmeti. Tried to turn it round the corner, but could only find touch. Knights will have to look ahead to Hume next week. That is the be-all and end-all for them. If they fail to win, over half a century in Victoria's top flight, we'll see the curtains fall on it. And how they would hate to do it on their own turf. Romanovsky, in the meantime, has got some room and is roaming forward. Yoshida, Donfe, Manuel, all making their way into the box. Romanovsky up against Semi. Rolled it back for Clark, who's clipped it for Manuel. Nodded it on. Yoshida, who wants a hat-trick. Clark won on the drive. Brilliant block made. Romanovsky won it back. Bramwell. Van Amerongen giving chase and sliding in before Inia could get there. This is the 8th time on the road this season that Knights have conceded 3 or more. The 6th time at home that the Thunder have scored 3 or more. Knights are headed for yet another damning and damaging defeat. Semi. Valenti. Can they maybe, just maybe, find a goal? That's a lovely ball to find Hurt. Waited on the overlap, had room to deliver, just showed too much of it to Manuel. It'll still break for Valenti. Edwards in on the challenge. Morton from range. Jamie Young got a good side. And a good sight. And it was never quite troubling Thunder's number 1. Dandenong Thunder firmly on track for a first win overnight since 2023. Lost the last 2 editions here. Yoshida has a wild swing. Hurd advancing forward, Taylor's challenge. Young can't stop the corner. Tidy take and turn from Werndl as well, who would advance forward. Knights have a set piece. Valenti's take, again with depth. Final touch will result in a Thunder goal kick. Thunder have been in control tonight. Really from start to finish. Knights had a good spell prior to half-time after the concession of that 3rd goal. But since then, have only had their woes worsen. Hurt. Drilled it in flatly. Edwards hooked it away. Yevcheski won it on. Edwards one in. And will win a free kick. Yevchevsky in late and a little strong. We mentioned Hume being the be-all and end-all. They then go to Dandenong City. And then on the final day, play Altona. Which, if they find a way to win the next 2, could be rather interesting. Thunder prepping one more change in the meantime. Sevdim Ismaili getting ready to come on. Valenti. Donfet on the press, Clark obliging him. Werndl wallops that away. Van Amerongen beats out Bramwell. Yoshida tried to turn away from Inia, who had far too much of his shirt. And Thunder will make that change. Sevdim Ismaili to come on. Ties Van Amerongen the one to make way. The man donning the Thunder armband was booked in the first 10 minutes. And he's done very well to wander the tightrope ever so carefully since then. Might be a risk-averse substitution. Ismaili comes on, and the Dutchman's night is done. after tonight for Thunder. They've got two rather important games. They're here next Saturday against Melbourne Victory's reserves for the final game of the season prior to the finals at George Andrews. They're then on the road to face St Albans at Churchill Reserve. And on the final day of the season, they venture all the way out to Preston in what could be a very fascinating final day, should the Lions need a win to play finals. But for now, they will focus on ensuring they've got a gap at third and ensuring that they get that job done. Young's conceded a corner. Can Knights at least blemish a clean sheet? With Depp once again. Wernzel, who got round the back, couldn't apply a more meaningful touch. It was slightly behind him. Had to really work his neck to meet that one. Couldn't use any of the whip to turn it goalwards. Mehmeti for Donfe, who won up against Werndl. Romanovsky and Yoshida were converging on Valenti, who did very well. Semi, with room to drive, sat down Edwards, rolled it on. Is this Knight's moment? Brilliant save. Young with a super stop to deny White. Smart save at his near post. He got his angles spot on. Steered that shot away for a corner. Valenti this time more centrally. Hurd got up. So did Ismaili. Donfair hammered it away. Chiba. Morton. He's just waiting on the run as Werndl stayed up with him. That's a brilliant ball towards Bramwell. And well won up by Alessi, who had to get the flick. Maniel might have room to go now. Hurd wanting to hold him up. Edwards. Mehmeti. All the way back for his keeper. Ismaili. Tidy ball to find Romanovsky. Donfair is now charging towards the middle. Romanovsky is charging down the right-hand side. Stood it up. Maniel at the back post touched it on. Donfair took it down and they couldn't turn it in. Thunder appeals for a penalty waved away. Hurd has hammered it. And all of a sudden, Inia is on the break. Ismaili to stand him up. Inia twisting, turning, working a yard. Jamie Young read it perfectly, gathered it and gave it on to Edwards. Mehmeti. Taylor. Clark. Tried to drive it into Donfair. Good sliding challenge from Yevchevsky. Morton. Just a couple words of concern from the Thunder bench towards Aidan Edwards. Semi shifted away from Romanovsky. Inia. Valenti. Morton. Semi. Taylor hot on the press. Semi tried to clip it into the channel, but neither Valenti nor Inia were going to give him a run. Edwards. Alessi. Mehmeti. Young sold Romanovsky short. Semi's picked it up. Down the line for Morton. Tried to tease one for Bramwell. Taylor there to turn it away. Only as far as Carrigan. Valenti, Semi. Enian. Ishida with an all-important challenge. Valenti. Lovely turn from Inia, who got around Romanovsky and around Edwards, but not around Taylor. And then while trying to win it back from Carl Taylor, it was a bit too overzealous and ended up fouling. Thunder's English midfield maestro. Spent last season at Exeter City. And Kyle Taylor in England's third tier. As the Thunder prep one more change. Selimovsky is ready and raring to go. Aidan Edwards, who the concerns are about, will be the one to make way whenever they can enact that change. Inia. Wonderful challenge from Maniao. Slid in to slow up the advance. Can Knights take one for the road? Maybe just give themselves some spark. Inia. Morton again. Once again over the bar, but the Thunder will now be able to make that change. Selimovsky on. And Aidan Edwards, who has had a busy and adventurous night in the middle of the park, sees his evening come to an end. Maybe a couple of concerns. It seems precautionary from Adam Piddick. Edwards' night done for Selimovsky, who was on the score sheet against Altona 2 home games ago, where Thunder won 6-0. Semi, who's had a busy night, turns away from Clark. Valenti gets it back from Yovchevsky. Domfe does brilliantly. Yoshida, Selimovsky got it caught under his feet. Yevchevsky hot on the press. Selimovsky had 3 around him. Inia picked his pocket and is now driving at Ismaili. Inia couldn't get beyond him. Yevchevsky once again driving and angling away from the Thunder net. That, unfortunately for Knights, rather sums up their evening. A couple of spells and a couple of moments where they've looked to create opportunity and put Thunder under pressure. However, it hasn't come to anything tangible. When the opportunities have presented themselves, that finishing touch has at times been lacking. Taylor in for Yoshida. Romanovsky's all on his own on the right hand side. Yoshida has speared it out to him. Semi on the lunge, couldn't get there. Romanovsky shifted it inside, twisting his way beyond them all. Valenti's block at the concession of a corner. Jay Romanovsky just wriggled his way through, wriggled his way into the box. Valenti had to put a stop to it. Mehmeti's take. Once again towards the back post. Matti with an all-important punch. Cleared away further, only as far as Yoshida, although Semi's done superbly to make that work. Valenti's tried to fizz it down the line. Romanovski kept his feet and won it back. Recycled it to Ismaili. Young. Cheeky chip, Ismaili. Able to take it down into Yoshida, whose touch took him into trouble. Yevchevsky gratefully accepting it. Bramwell. Fizzed it. And once again, Inia just couldn't turn it goalwards. But Knights are creating a couple of late looks. Young. Selimovsky, who did well to protect the space. Wanted to find Yoshida, but with too much loft and too much weight, only finds touch. Werndl. Valenti. 10 minutes for Melbourne Knights to at least stop a Thunder clean sheet. Maybe take one, possibly a couple with them. Semi shifted away from Romanovski with a dangerous ball, but Jamie Young once again reads it best. Rolled it out for Taylor. Mehmeti towards Domfe. That's a delightful takedown. Clark. Taylor. Alessi. Romanovski again had roared forward. Ismaili. Selimovsky. Alessi. Ismaili. Waiting on the runners. Domfe in the channel. Ismaili's found him wonderfully. Domfe's able to shift it away. Set it back for Romanovski, who's wanting to twist and turn. Drilling it. Cleared away. Heard, thankfully, for Knights, the one to win it, then showed too much of it to Taylor. Selimovsky. Quick 1-2 with Mehmeti. Alessi. Taylor. Smiley. All the way back to Jamie Young. Thunder again trying to draw in the Melbourne Knights press and play through. Mehmeti. Clark. All the way home for Young once more, who's tried a dangerous one and it hasn't worked out for him. Ania's touch for Semi. Couldn't find him either. Valenti nodded it on. Yovchevsky. Chiba. Hustled by Manuel. Got it out to Hurd. Fizzed one early. Alessi flicked it on. Semi picked it up while trying to find Ania, who bundled into Ismaili. And Melbourne Knights will make a change. Darcy Anastovsky. Will come on for the final 7 and stoppage time as Ania makes way. Had a much busier second half than his first. Ate Ania. Domfe's given one to chase and has got around Wordle. Yoshida tidily back for Domfe. Romanovski with room. Recycled it to Ismaili. Alessi. Mehmeti. In the channel for Manuel, who dropped in. Chiba cleaned up. Matti. Yovchevsky, who was under pressure from Yoshida. Chiba with a crashing switch. Valenti with a tidy touch. Semi. Morton. Anastovsky. Round the corner for Valenti. Quick return for Anastovsky. who's clipped it in before Taylor could get there. Alessi read it best. Manuel back for Mehmeti. Selimovsky. Clark slid in at the same time as Carrigan, who won it back. Chiba. Jovchevsky. Hurd. Again with an early ball. That one much better towards Anastovsky. Ismaili's touch important. Taylor teased it on for Yoshida, who was bundled out of it by Jovchevsky. Who had a bit to say to Thunder's Japanese. Ismaili. Romanovsky. Away from Semi. Taylor. Bramwell hot on the press. Alessi. Mehmeti. Manuel. Touch was heavy and invited Hurd, who made the challenge but couldn't quite keep it. That race to secure third for Dandenong Thunder gets ever so interesting when you understand that Oakley host Altona next week. Then they go to Heidelberg before, on the final day, hosting South Melbourne. So not an easy end to the season for the Cannons, who are looking to fire their way into the top three. Thunder, you get the feel of 2 wins away would make it mathematically possible. Tonight they pull 5 points clear. Taylor in on Valenti. Kyle Taylor turning out of trouble and finding Yoshida wonderfully. They once again break the press. Clark on the charge. Hurd on retreat. Manuel trying to turn his way through them all. Matty picked it up. And Valenti is still down. He's only just got back to his feet. Morton. Semi. Couldn't shift it beyond Selimovsky, but could gain a couple of yards. For Knights, on the other hand, it's a stark drop-off from a club who were in the top 4 not too long ago. To see how times have changed for such a historic club. It is a rather sad sight. A club of proud history. Had a glorious period in the 90s. And now, right now, are in the fight of their lives to survive. One which the pulse is slowly weakening. Ismaili. Lovely ball. Romanovsky with a deft touch. In for Yoshida. Wanted to shift away from Jovchevsky. Taylor. Selimovsky. Ismaili. Split it into the channel for Romanovsky to give chase. Valenti. Back for Matty, who took a stumble when he cleared, and thus it broke for Clark, who had Manuel arriving. Manuel might beat them all. He took a slip before being able to get any connection on it. A couple of late appeals for a penalty quickly waved away. As we head into the final minute prior to 3 of stoppage time. That is the word. Bramwell back for Valenti. Jovchevsky. Valenti for Bramwell. Into Morton, lovely 1-2. Bramwell in ahead of Romanovsky. Anastovsky with a tidy touch. And an even tidier ball for Hurd, whose header got height but didn't have pace. And Young happy to come and claim it rather coolly. Taylor rather taking his time when taking the yards forward. Mehmeti. Alessi. 3 minutes of stoppage time. On the end of a drizzly and chilly Saturday evening. The southeast has truly been a winter wonderland tonight. Dandenong Thunder have been walking in it. Young's given it away. Semi. Anastovsky. Bramwell, brilliant block. Superb block from Ismaili. Morton, not around Ismaili again. Semi with a handball that was a little too blatant to ignore. Romanovsky. Thunder wanted to take it quickly. Ismaili, Taylor. Yoshida, quick 1-2. Round the corner for Alessi. Thunder will just tick out the minutes, or do they want to add a fifth? Clark. Couldn't turn it round the corner for Manuel. Mehmeti. Clark. With height all the way back to his keeper. Alessi. Switched it for Ismaili. Semi was hot on the press. Romanovsky dropped off to give him a helping hand. Ismaili. Around Morton marvellously. Yoshida. He might have one more chance to grab a hat-trick. Taylor touched it on. Manuel's got runners. Romanovsky on the right is one of them. Waiting on the arrivals. Clark was there, and that's a brilliant save from Matty. Thunder with a late charge to make it 5. Romanovsky's ball, a good one. Matty with a good save down low. Taylor. Mehmeti, who can hit them, stood it up for Donfet. Thumping clearance away. Morton on for Valenti, who speared it for Yevchevsky, but Selimovsky is always in the lead of that foot race. Young, cool as you like. Taylor. Away from the referee and away from Chiba. That's a tidy ball for Clark as well. Donfet wanted to find Yoshida, who was still wanting to make it work. Carrigan kept his cool. Matty. Knights had it break down. Ismaili picked up the loose one. And that will be that. Knights now must do it next week. Their survival and their season depends on it. For the Thunder, they build a gap from Oakley and have a grip on third as their push for finals continues. But for Melbourne Knights, 62 years of top-flight football is all on the line against Hume next week. They will be on familiar territory to do it, as their travel to the southeast was a turbulent one, and unfortunately for them, it was a rather turgid evening. Full time at a wet and wild George Andrews. Dandenong Thunder 4, Melbourne Knights 0.